Greetings and welcome back. It's your host, Gabe Morales. We've been doing Aryan Prison Gang Update, and I will continue with part 2. The soldiers of the Aryan Culture were allegedly started by Tracy Sawena, the self-appointed general of the gang, also called SAC. The security threat group is based primarily in the Utah state prison system, although they also can be found in the federal system and occasionally in other states. Sawena admitted in court that he started SAC back in 1997, and under his leadership, members rose through the ranks by committing violence against Hispanics and blacks. The gang continues to cause problems in Utah and the federal BOP, and are involved in a variety of criminal activities, including financial-related crimes. Currently, there are stated to be over 250 documented members in Utah and in the federal system. In 2020, local authorities arrested over 20 members of Soldiers of the Aryan Culture and Silent Aryan Warriors. Silent Aryan Warriors, or SAW, is another prison gang active in Utah. They are said to have merged in the Utah correctional system in the early 1990s with strong connections to the skinhead movement. I've been told that there were two other groups started around the mid-1990s in Utah, Krieger Varant and the Fourth Reich. However, they are no longer active. While in federal prison, some Utah inmates hooked up with the Dirty White Boys, who are active in several states. The 211 gang was started in the Denver County Jail in 1995 to protect whites from Chicano and blacks. 211 crew in Colorado is not the same as the Nevada 211 boys. According to authorities, Benjamin Davis, assisted by inmate Danny Shea, formed the gang to protect white prisoners after a black inmate broke Shea's jaw in the Denver County Jail. The gang then expanded into the Colorado Department of Corrections. December 2007, Benjamin Davis, founder and leader of the gang, was sentenced to 108 years in prison in Denver District Court. But 10 years later, Davis was found dead of apparent suicide. Colorado Department of Corrections officials were on high alert after a 211 crew gunman killed DLC Director Tom Clements on the doorsteps of his home in 2013. It is unclear whether the gunner was acting on his own or from orders from 211 superiors. The gunman was identified as Evan Ebel, who was later killed in the shootout with Texas authorities after a high-speed chase that he was involved in driving Tom Clements' Cadillac. Ebel had also been tied to the killing 2 days earlier of a Domino's pizza delivery driver named Nathan Leon. Authorities believe that Ebel used Leon's shirt and gear as a ruse when he went to Clements' doorstop to kill him. Authorities say that bomb-making materials were also found in his car. So I realize this may be old news to some of you, but I couldn't find a lot on the 211 crew as far as recent activity. Maybe some of you Colorado guys can give me an update on what's happening with that group. The Universal Aryan Brotherhood is said to have been started in 1993 by an inmate named Wilhelm Mast. The gang's insignia consist of a set of SS runes, and they may also use a numerical code, 2112. 21 for the 21st letter of the alphabet U for Universal, and 1 and 2 for Aryan Brotherhood. Women are also known as featherwoods and often help carry out orders. In 2021, Dustin Tucker and his girlfriend had bought methamphetamine from a drug dealer who was affiliated with the UAB. After leaving the dealer's house, they were stopped by a Tulsa police officer, and during the traffic stop, officers found meth on Dustin Tucker and a firearm in his car. While being detained, Dustin told officers where he had bought the drugs. Police then released him and his girlfriend. The girlfriend attempted to warn the dealer, but officers were already at the drug house serving a search warrant. The girlfriend then called UAB gang member Benny Withrow and told him about what had happened. Later that night, Dustin made plans to go to a local casino with Withrow and a third friend. On the way, Withrow suggested that they all pull over to use drugs first. After they got out of the car, Withrow shot Dustin numerous times, leaving him to die in a field. Dustin Tucker's body was found several days later, and apparently Withrow had bragged to at least 2 people that he had killed Dustin. In April 2024, UAB member Benny Frank Withrow IV was sentenced to life plus 120 months for first-degree murder that he committed in Indian country. Today there are said to be 2 rival UAB factions, the Universal Aryan Brotherhood 21 Woodgrain and the Universal Aryan Brotherhood Universal Family. Starting in the year 2019, the UAB were said to have been involved in a deadly tit-for-tat war with the Bloods gang, which in Oklahoma City includes white blood members. And the Bloods are also very big in Oklahoma DLC.
And a gang war in Oklahoma City, a murder investigation is shedding light on a violent back and forth. And we start with new violent details into a gang-related murder in the metro. 2 people were arrested when it happened in November.
But now we're learning nearly 10 other people were involved. News 4's Natalie Clydesdale has been sifting through all the documents this evening, and she's joining us in studio. Natalie?
Well, the court records show Connor Huckabee's murder was part of a gang war between the United Aryan Brothers and the Bloods. And the documents add this war has been going on for about 3 years. We want to warn you, these details are very graphic and disturbing. A gang war, court records reveal, has been going on since 2019, turning deadly in Oklahoma City. The new documents show Connor Huckabee, who had a handful of previous charges, is a Blood gang member. According to investigators, Facebook messages show back in November, he was lured out of his Metro hotel room by Danielle Velez. Surveillance video shows Huckabee then get into a truck Velez said she would be driving, and the truck speed away. The next morning, Huckabee was found dead on the side of South Richland Road. Court records reveal Kyle Morris and Rusty Williams are high-ranking members of the Universal Aryan Brotherhood in order to hit on a Blood gang member. The records go on to say at least 8 UAB members were involved in beating the Blood in a parking lot, where Huckabee was forced to humiliate himself and denounce the Blood gang, and was stabbed by James Selman. The gang then drove Huckabee to this remote intersection, according to court documents, where Jordan Shaw shot him in the head with a rifle, and Dominic Selman shot him in the stomach with another gun twice and left him lying on the side of the road. Then the UAB members came back to Morris's wife at Jacqueline Steiner's house, where documents show she paid them for their role in the murder. The new members arrested are charged with murder in the first degree, kidnapping, and conspiracy to commit a felony.
While in prison, the UAB have also been involved in a bloody war with the Irish mob. In September 2015, 4 inmates were killed, 2 from each side, in a deadly disturbance at the private Cimarron Correctional Facility. I don't believe the Irish mob is affiliated with other gangs with that name in other parts of the United States. But in 2022, 125 people were convicted in a 5-year investigation that exposed the Oklahoma Irish mob's criminal activities. Among those convicted were David Postel, the alleged head of the Irish mob gang, who ran drug trafficking operations from his maximum security cell at the Oklahoma State Penitentiary. A federal judge eventually found him responsible for either distributing or assisting in distributing more than 270 kilos of methamphetamine. Postel was sentenced to life in federal prison for his actions, and he had already been serving life without parole in Oklahoma DOC for a first-degree murder conviction committed in 2008. Chad Hudson, the leader of the Irish Mafia before Postel took over, was held responsible for dealing more than 45 kilos of methamphetamine from inside his maximum security prison cell. Hudson was sentenced to approximately 29 years in federal prison. The Indiana Aryan Brotherhood has a distinctive logo of a stylized letter A inside a circular emblem that has the words Aryan Brotherhood, as well as SS bolts and a swastika. According to court documents, on December 14, 2020, an Indiana Aryan Brotherhood member was arrested by Indiana state troopers on an outstanding warrant. Troopers searched Mashbourne's person and located 2 loaded handguns and approximately 22 grams of meth, as well as approximately $12,000 in cash. Later that day, troopers executed a search warrant on his residence and located and seized 38 firearms, approximately 2.8 kilos of meth, scales, and other drug paraphernalia. He was eventually sentenced to 235 months in federal prison. The Saxon Knights are a large Indiana-based white supremacist prison gang, which were started in 1995 at the Pendleton Correctional Facility, located in central Indiana. They have a very stylized emblem. If somebody is removed as a member, their patch must be removed also. The organization now has approximately 1,000 men and women, mostly centered in Indiana, but have also been found in surrounding states. Some former guards, members, and wives of Saxon Knights state that the majority of their members are college educated and that they have strong family ties and emphasize positive family values as being a key to a better future. They say we encourage our membership to further their education, exercise daily, and seek spiritual guidance. No religion is looked down upon with this organization so long as it teaches positive values and morals. While some ignorant, uninformed people have commented that they are a racist organization, they insist they are not. The Unforgiven are a large white supremacist gang based in the Florida correction system. Their main symbol consists of an interlocking iron cross and swastika with SS lightning bolts in the center. Members will also often use the numeric code 21212. Sometimes I don't know how some of these groups come up with stuff, but supposedly the 21212 adds up to 35, which means brotherly love, brotherhood loyalty, brotherly love, or unity, brotherhood, loyalty. The 21st letter of the alphabet U, the second letter of the alphabet B, and the 12th letter of the alphabet L.
I'm working on a presentation on a prison gang called the Unforgiven. Okay. Anyone in the federal system, you're going to be seeing our people. They just secured another federal indictment late last week. And that's kind of part of the reason why my presentation isn't completed, because I had to wait for the ATF task force to make the arrest come true. Because the sad part is that, and it's public knowledge in the indictment, unfortunately, the gang was very much supported by several active law enforcement officers and state employees.
Members often have meetings to discuss unforgiven business. And during these meetings, members who are alleged to be in bad standing are discussed, and their continued membership is voted upon. If an individual is considered to be out of compliance with the gang's accepted rules, they are ordered to cover up their patch, or they will have involuntary removal of the gang's tattoo insignia. In March 2024, an 8-year investigation into the Unforgiven concluded. Federal authorities in this case began investigating the Unforgiven in October 2015. Defendants Maverick Mayer, Scott Marshall, Brandon Welch, and Joshua Williamson were all found guilty of a range of violent acts, including participating or ordering the assaults of 5 Unforgiven members who were attacked and their bodies mutilated. In August of 2024, heavily tattooed Deadpool killer Wade Wilson was sentenced to death for the brutal 2019 murders of 2 Florida women, crimes he is said to have committed just for the sake of killing. Wilson was found guilty in June of 2024 for the murders of Christine Melton and Diane Ruiz during a crazed night in October of 2019. The evidence showed that the murders were heinous, atrocious, and cruel, and that the second murder was cold, calculated, and premeditated, said Circuit Court Judge Nicholas Thompson in the courtroom. As I stated in Part 1, Anti-Defamation League and the Southern Poverty Law Center have a lot of good information on white prison gangs, as well as other supreme white power groups.
White racist prison gangs are obviously fueled by hatred. These are hardened, professional gang members.
The Aryan Brotherhood of Texas is a race-based prison gang, and that supremacist belief is that extra unknown factor that most of the other prison gangs don't have.
Why should we care about Aryan prison gang members? They are violent. They hurt other inmates. They hurt staff.
Typically, if a peace officer is interacting with Aryan Brotherhood of Texas, depending on their race, it may be a very different interaction.
The criminal enterprise is the main emphasis. However, within these groups, there are individuals that are still highly ideologically motivated. They're fueled by hate. This makes them even more dangerous than a run-of-the-mill turf-based street gang member or a member of another prison gang.
So, I know there are some other Aryan security threat groups, organizations, or gangs, depending on the messenger, in the United States that I didn't cover. But there's a lot of information, not just on the California AB, but many other supreme white power groups in my book, The History of the Aryan Brotherhood, available on Amazon.com. Hope you learned something new and continue to stay blessed. For now, this is Gabe Morales signing off for gangsters, cops, and politicians.